Welcome to February 2025 Subway Update. Here's what we'll be discussing in this month's installment. We will mainly talk about R211s. Without further ado, let us begin. Regarding the R211Ss, 104 was reconnected to 103 at the Clifton shops on January 15, 2025. R211S pilot set 100 to 104 returned to service on January 21st, being spotted on a Staten Island trip to St. George around 5 o'clock p.m. It was cleared to run during nights as of February 2nd, which means that either the R211S somehow passed the 30-day test despite going out of service several times, or that it was cleared for regular service anyway, in order to allow the R211S delivery to proceed. Production R211S consists 105 to 109. Resume burn-in testing from February 3rd to February 5th, 2025, and enter service on February 10th without any additional decals, as the 5:48 p.m. train to Great Kills. The R211S has received minor adjustments to their signage and announcements to indicate transfers and service patterns along the island. Back when I did my update in January, 120 to 132 and 135 to 159 were at Yonkers, while 133 to 134 and 160 to 174 were at Lincoln, Nebraska awaiting delivery. Since then, R211S consists 145 to 149 was delivered to New York City between February 5th and February 7th, being fully delivered to the Clifton shops by February 7th, making it the second production R211S to be delivered to Staten Island. Afterwards, 152 to 154 were delivered between February 13th and 14th, but 151 was not delivered until February 16th, and 150 was not delivered until February 22nd, due to having to receive in-bonnet repairs at Yonkers. So R211S is 120 to 132, 135 to 144, and 155 to 159 are at Yonkers, while 133 to 134 and 160 to 174 are still at Lincoln, Nebraska. Meanwhile, 20 R211S cars or 4 or 5 car trains, 100 to 109 and 145 to 154 are on Staten Island Railway property, while 2 R211S consists are in service on the island. However, 100 to 104 was taken out of service once again on February 12th, due to 104 having worn out gearboxes. Darn, this pilot consists has really caught some recent strays. 100's R5 to R6 doors not working, 104 experiencing traction motor issues, and now worn out gearboxes? Darn, man! In terms of the remaining base loader R211As, 60 R211As remain to be delivered back when I did my last update on January 15, 2025. Those were 4420 to 4469 and 4490 to 4499. That number has decreased to 25 cars, 4445 to 4469, 4470 to 4479. After completing burn-in testing between January 2nd and January 9th, and possibly a few days afterward, entered service on January 16, 2025 on the C line, becoming the 35th R211A consist to do so. 4479 was leading the consist, which let out a C train from Euclid Avenue to 168th Street at 4:25 p.m. It ended up running to Queens Plaza due to various detours which occurred on that day. 4405 to 4414, the consist that was delivered as a full 10-car train to South Brooklyn Yard between December 9th and December 12th, 2024, began burn-in testing as a full set on January 11th and entered service on January 24th on the A line, being the 36th R211A consist to do so, while 4335 to 39 was the last 4300 series R211A to arrive, doing so between December 18th and 19th. For context, the second to last 4300 series R211A to arrive, 4395 to 99, had arrived a month earlier than this consist, doing so between November 20th and November 21st. The 5-car consist, 4335 to 39, has been doing several days worth of testing on the BMT Brighton line, namely between Avenue J and Avenue M between January 4th and January 30th, even displaying in-train signage during one of his tests on January 15th. It was then transferred with 4485 to 89 to Pitkin Yard on February 1st. The two sets formed a 10-car train and did sporadic burn-in testing between February 1st and February 11th, and entered service on February 12th on the A, becoming the 37th R211A consist to enter service. 4415 to 4419 was delivered to South Brooklyn on January 15th, and conducted various tests along the sliver of the Brighton line between January 29th and February 14, 2025. It was then linked up with 4480-84 and began burn-in testing as the 10-car consists on the A line on February 15th to 16th. It will likely be the 38th R211A to enter service. 4420-24 were delivered to South Brooklyn between January 16th and 17th, while 4425-29 were delivered between January 23rd and 24th. The former was unable to be moved over the weekend and likely got snowed on during January 19th. 4420-24 began testing on West End between February 17th and 18th, while 4425-29 was sent to Coney Island via West End on February 18th, so it can also begin testing. 4430-34 were delivered to South Brooklyn between February 4th and 5th, while 4435-39 were delivered between February 11th and 12th. 4440-4444 were delivered between February 13th and 14th, but 4443-4444's link bar apparently broke during the delivery process. That makes for a total of 10 cars delivered to South Brooklyn during the week of February 9, 2025. Most of these early 4400s were delivered straight from Lincoln, Nebraska to New York City. As for the higher 4400s, 4485-89 were delivered from Yonkers to the South Brooklyn yard, while 4480-84 were delivered from Yonkers to 207th Street yard during the week of January 5, 2025. 10 cars in total. 4485-89 tested on Brighton between January 23rd and 27th, were shifted to Pitkin with 4335-39 on February 1st, and entered service on February 12th on the A after conducting a few burn-in tests. Meanwhile, 4480-84 tested on Brighton between January 27th and February 11th, then joined 4415-19 and began burn-in testing with it on February 15th. The numerically highest base order R211As, 4490-94 and 4495-99, were reported to be fully assembled at Yonkers as of January 22, 2025 or before. 4490-94 were delivered to 207th Street yard between January 27th and 31st. Meanwhile, 4495-99 were delivered from Yonkers to the South Brooklyn Railway between January 29th and January 30th, and transferred to Pitkin on January 31st. So to recap, because the order of 4400s being delivered and entering service has been a bit strange and out of order, here's the order of how things occurred. 4395 to 4404 entered service on the A on December 31st, 2024 as the 34th R211A consists to enter service. 4470 to 79 entered service on the C on January 16, 2025, being the 35th R211A consists to enter service. 4405 to 4414 entered service on the A on January 24th, being consist 36. 4335 to 39 and 4485 to 89 entered service on the A on February 12th, being the 37th consist to enter service. 4415 to 19 and 4480 to 84 are burn-in testing as of February 15, 2025, in preparation to become the 38th R211A consist to enter service. 4420 to 4444 and 4490 to 4499 have all been delivered to MTA property, with them being scattered throughout the system, and with 4420 to 24 doing burn-in tests out of Coney Island, and 4425 to 29 being transferred there. 4425 to 29 was sent to Coney Island via West End on February 18th, while also doing testing on that day. 4495 to 4499 is now burn-in testing as of February 21st, using the West End line to do so. As of February 18, 2025, 25 base order R211As, 4445 to 4469, remain to be delivered to MTA property. 4455 to 4459 reportedly has a door bypass issue, however, so it might not be delivered yet. We now begin to move into Option Order R211A territory. As you know well at this point, looking at the Coneheads, XE40s, and LFS HEVs for instance, Option Order consists can arrive simultaneously with remaining base order units, or units from another order of the same fleet can arrive concurrently with units from a separate order, if the fleet types are the same. Since the Option Order 1 R211As are no different from the base order R211As, I'm not surprised that the first Option Order R211As are beginning to arrive with the remaining base order R211As. They're really popping those R211As out. With the R211A base order wrapping up, we now turn our attention to the Option Order R211As. R211A Option Order 1 is slated to come in between February 2025 and December 2026. This order will bring us 640 cars, numbered from 3400 to 4039, occupying a fleet range which the R32s and R38s once utilized. By the way, this is a much bigger allotment than the base order, giving us 200 more cars than the base order gave us. Some of these cars will be assigned to Pitkin and 207, while the others will be heading elsewhere. As shown in the last update, R211A 3415 was shown to be built as of October 27, 2024. As of January 27, 2025, R211As 3400 to 3519 were all confirmed to be built. R211As 3407 to 3414 arrived at Yonkers as of January 27th. 3401 to 3409 were already inside of the facility at this time. 3400 was then delivered to Yonkers on February 13th, while 3415 to 18 were delivered to Yonkers between February 15th and February 18th. Then, as of February 15th, 3400 to 3404 were assembled and sent outside of the facility, while 3410 to 14 were sent inside of the facility to have work done. They essentially swapped places. As of February 18th, 3400 to 3404 began the delivery process to New York City, with the first two cars, 3403 to 3404, being delivered to 207th Street Yard on that day. The rest of the cars came in on the following days. 3401 to 3402 came in on February 19th, while 3400 came in on February 22nd. 3400 to 3404 were all on MTA property as of February 22nd. 3400 to 3404 therefore became the first option order R211A to arrive on MTA property. Regarding CBTC projects, as a reminder from last update, Culver CBTC is very close to completion. 8th Avenue CBTC should be done soon. 6th Avenue and 63rd Street CBTC are in the works right now. Crosstown CBTC is slated to go into effect around 2027 to 2028. And Fulton Street Liberty Avenue CBTC is slated to go into effect around 2031. The current CBTC projects listed in the 2025 to 2029 capital plan are Rockaway Line CBTC to Lefferts Boulevard and the Rockaways, Broadway CBTC from Astoria Ditmars Boulevard to DeKalb Avenue via both the bridge and tunnel, and Nassau Line CBTC from Delancey Street to Broad Street. These projects, of course, especially for Rockaway CBTC, will act as a tangent off of the 2020 to 2024 capital plan CBTC projects. So theoretically, if you wanted to, you could run a J train from DeKalb Avenue to Delancey Essex Street only using CBTC. I'm giving you ideas for a J to 9th Avenue GO again, or something cool like that. R179 consists 3082 to 3085 and 3061 to 3058 performed CBTC testing along Queens Boulevard using the express track on October 15, 2024. R211A consists 4184 to 4180 and 4190 to 94 was transferred to Coney Island Yard for maintenance on January 16th, then sent to Jamaica Yard, serving as a CBTC test train along Queens Boulevard between February 4th and February 20th. It also used the express track when testing. It will likely continue to test after this video is released. Alright, that does it for our R211 and CBTC update for February 2025. Stay tuned for the rest of this video to release. Thank you for riding with Next Stop News.